Hello, good evening everyone. Am I audible? Good evening. Yes, Ritik, good evening. Vijay Lakshmi, everybody, I am audible. Good evening everyone. Yeah, good evening. Nikhil, good evening. Dilip, good evening. So, everybody is excited. So, what we are going to learn in this 30 days? So, what is machine learning? So, am I audible to everyone? Yes. So what is machine learning? So anybody tell me what do you mean by machine learning? So what we are going to see in this 30 days? So what do you mean by machine learning? So I am just starting. So what do you mean by machine learning? It is nothing. So from the term you can just understand. So what do you mean by machine learning? It is nothing but the ability of the machines to learn by themselves without being explicitly programmed. So this is what is called as machine learning. So what we are going to see in this 30 days? So firstly, in order to learn machine learning, so you should know some basics about Python language. So whatever we are going to design, so everything is going to be based on Python. So firstly, I will be discussing with you about some basics of Python. So what are all the syntax to use this language? So what do you mean by this language? So I am going to discuss with you some basic statements about Python. And then we will start with the machine learning concepts. So what do you mean by machine learning? What are the different types of machine learning techniques that are available? So I am just going to discuss with you about various machine learning concepts and techniques, and we will learn the libraries one by one. Yes, good evening everybody. Yes, Ramesh, good evening. Shraddha, good evening. So what we are going to see today? So I am just going to discuss with you about machine learning concepts. So everybody is excited. The world is revolving around machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, data analytics. So what do you mean by machine learning? So why it is a very emerging technology or cutting edge technology? So everywhere automation is happening. So in whichever sector you take, in e-commerce industry, so in whatever sector, in financial sectors, in statistical sectors, so in whichever sector you go, everywhere a huge amount of automation is happening. So instead of human beings, so in order to reduce the manpower, we are employing the machines in order to think like humans and make the required predictions. So this is what is called as machine learning. So from the term you can just understand. So what do you mean by machine learning? So it's nothing but the ability of the machines to learn by themselves without being explicitly programmed. So just as how human beings, they are going to think and they are going to make some predictions, similarly we are going to train the machines using some algorithms so that when the training is given, they are going to act like humans and they are going to make the required predictions. So what we are going to see in this 30 days? So why this is a very cutting edge technology? So predictive analytics is growing at a very fast rate. So wherever you go, so we are going to assume things and we are going to predict. Say for example, many real world problems, many lifestyle diseases are spreading. So diabetes is a major lifestyle disease that is spreading. So we have to predict. So predictive analytics. So what are all the various factors that are causing this disease? So we are going to analyze the factors and we are going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as machine learning. So we are training the machines. So once trained, they are going to act like humans and they are going to produce the relevant results. So this is what is called as machine learning. Do you understand? So what do you mean by machine learning? So what we are going to see in order to understand this concept. So firstly, so it's going to be a 30-day program. So every day, if you are going to spend some 45 minutes, so by the end of 30 days, you are going to become a master in machine learning concepts. So in order to learn this machine learning, so what are the prerequisites you require? So firstly, you should know about the Python language. So the predictive analytics, we are going to use Python language in order to do any kind of prediction. So I am just going to cover about the basics of Python. So what do you mean by Python? So what are the different tools that are available? So statements that are available in Python. So I am just going to discuss with you about some basics of Python. so that whenever I am going to deal with the algorithms, you will understand that better. So after discussing with the basics of Python, next I will be starting with the machine learning concepts. So what do you mean by machine learning? What are the different types of machine learning that are available? So this is going to be our learning agenda. So firstly, I will start with Python and then I will discuss with you about machine learning concepts. So what do you mean by machine learning? So what are the different types of machine learning techniques that are available and what are the libraries? So in order to implement any type of algorithm, so you'll be learning about pandas library, numpy, matplotlib, sklearn, cborn. So these are all the essential libraries in order to do any kind of ML task. In order to do any kind of predictive analytics, so you should learn about these libraries very well. So we will be seeing the libraries one by one and I will be discussing with you about supervised learning. What are the different types of machine learning techniques that are available? So what do you mean by supervised learning? What do you mean by unsupervised learning? So these are all the different types of machine learning techniques that are available. So we will see what are the different types of supervised machine learning algorithms and what are the different types of unsupervised machine learning algorithms. So I will be discussing some major algorithms. So I will explain the algorithm. I will go a bit slow and I will give you a example for everyone. So I am just going to give you a brief introduction to each and every algorithm and then I will be showing one practical example in Jupyter notebook. So this is what happens in supervised learning. What do you mean by this technology? What do you mean by supervised learning? And what do you mean by unsupervised learning? So we are going to see about the unsupervised learning algorithm, that is k-means clustering algorithm. And finally, so if you learn this, so you can get many major companies, they are hiring ML engineers, data science jobs are available. So Amazon, Uber, so many other companies, they are hiring many data science or ML engineers. So all these are major cutting edge technologies that are available. So this is going to be our agenda. So I hope I am clear with whatever I am speaking. So everybody is with me, right? Yes, we will be providing the attendance link. So you should fill, every day you should fill the attendance link. So after 25, so minimum you should attend this class for 25 days. Then if you are interested, you can log into the pantechelearning site and you can register for this machine learning course. Alright. So what are all the different things I am going to cover? So this is our day-wise learning plan. Firstly, for first 2 days, I will be discussing with you about Python programming. So what do you mean by Python? So what are the fundamentals you should learn about Python? And we will dive into the machine learning concepts. So what do you mean by machine learning? So what are the different types and what are the machine learning techniques that are available? Data visualization and normalization techniques. And then I will be discussing with the libraries. What are all the essential libraries? And we will start with supervised learning and supervised learning. So all these are different types of machine learning techniques that are available. For each and every algorithm, I am going to show you a simple example. So these are all the different types of supervised machine learning algorithms. Logistic regression, SVM algorithm, Naïve Baye, decision tree algorithm. So all these are different types of supervised machine learning algorithms. I am going to discuss each and every algorithm one by one and I will be showing a simple example in Jupyter notebook. Alright, so if you have any doubts, you can just ask me and I am going to discuss with you about unsupervised learning. So what is principal component analysis? So what do you mean by natural language toolkit? What do you mean by neural network? So these are all the unsupervised machine learning techniques I am going to discuss with you. Alright, everybody is clear with the agenda? So you are with me? Everybody is with me, right? So shall I start the class? So if you have any idea about machine learning, you can just share. So can you just tell me where machine learning concepts are applied? Anybody can tell me? If you have any idea, you can just share with me. Can you give me some real world problems where machine learning can be applied? Alright. So I am just starting with the basics of Python language and then we will dive deeper into the subject. So what is machine learning? So from this picture you can just understand. So what do you mean by machine learning? there is a human being, so he is imagining. So whenever he sees some accident on the road, or whenever a kid is playing, so whenever he sees some events or incidents, he is going to learn from those events or incidents. So how human brain thinks. So for example, next time whenever there is going to be an accident, so what are the major factors that cause that accident? So imagine how the human brain thinks and how he is predicting. Similarly, we are going to train the machine learning models to think like humans. So many real life problems exist. As I told you, right, many lifestyle diseases are spreading. For example, liver disease, it is a major lifestyle disease. Diabetes, it is growing at a very fast rate. So many people are affected by diabetes. It is a major lifestyle disease, and we have many other types of diseases. Cancer, so it is one of the major disease, dreadful disease. So many people they are affected, and it is a death causing disease. So it is a very dangerous disease. So what are the different factors that are causing these diseases? So with the changing lifestyle and stress, many youth they are suffering from different types of diseases. So disease prediction. So in medical field, machine learning is very useful. So once we are going to train the machines, so from this picture you can just understand. So what happens here? How human brain thinks. Just imagine. So whenever there is any disease, so how they are predicting in clinical analysis? They are analyzing the historical data. They are analyzing some patterns of data. So what is that which is causing the disease? What are the various parameters? So stress is a major important for diabetes, and what are the other parameters or factors that are causing this disease? So just as how human brains think, similarly we are going to train the machine learning models to think like humans. So whenever we are going to train the models, they are going to act like humans and they are going to make the required predictions. So this is what is called as machine learning. Are you clear? So they are going to follow the instructions given by humans and they are going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as machine learning. So they mimic humans and they are going to make some important predictions. And artificial intelligence, it is the cutting edge technology. It is a very growing technology in today's world. So what do you mean by artificial intelligence? So from the term you can just understand. It is nothing but human-like intelligence displayed by machines. So just as how human brain thinks, similarly we are going to train the machines to act like humans and they are going to make some important predictions. So machine learning, it is an important application of artificial intelligence. So we are going to train the machines. We are going to train the machine learning models to think like humans. The human brains, similarly we are having some machine learning algorithms. They are going to think like humans and they are going to make some important predictions. So this is what is called as machine learning. So automation. So in order to reduce the manpower and reduce the time complexity, we are going for machine learning techniques. And what are the important terms you should understand about machine learning? So whenever I am going to discuss with you about any type of algorithms, so you should learn these three terms. These are the important terminologies you should understand about any machine learning concept. So what do you mean by a data set? What do you mean by a feature? And what do you mean by a model? So what do you mean by a data set? So from the term you can just understand. So in order to analyze any problem, first I need data. So the world is evolving around data. So wherever you go, in financial sector, a huge amount of data is being generated. So many people, they are trying to create some fake profiles and they are trying to create many fraudulent transactions. Cyber crime is happening at a very fast rate. So in order to solve any problem, for doing any kind of predictions, first I require data. So a data set is nothing but a collection of data. They contain some important information or features to solve the problem. So whenever I have any problem in hand, first I need to understand the data. So first I should have data. So in e-commerce industry, if I want to find the pattern in which the customers are shopping, so first I require data. So a data set is nothing but a collection of data samples. They contain some important features to solve the problem. And what do you mean by features? So they are nothing but important pieces of data which help us in understanding a problem. So whenever I have any problem, I need to understand the problem. So what is the problem? If I want to predict some disease, first I need to understand the features. If I want to predict a diabetes disease, first I need to understand the features. So what are all the features that are causing this disease? So blood pressure level based on glucose level, insulin level. So what are all the features that are causing this disease? And what do you mean by a model? It's nothing but the internal representation, a machine learning. So whichever algorithm or the machine learning algorithm or model, it is called as the algorithm is called as a model. So how we are going to use those features and fit the model in order to make the relevant prediction. Am I clear? So I am just showing this pictorially. So what do you mean by a data set? What do you mean by a... So what are all the different terms you should understand? So firstly, you should understand what do you mean by a data set. Next, you should understand what do you mean by features. The next one is model. So the third one is you should understand what do you mean by a model. The first one is data set. For example, as I told you, right, diabetes is a major disease. I want to predict diabetes. So what are all the data? For example, everything is stored in the tabular form. That is, it is stored in the form of rows and columns. This is a tabular data structure. So you can see CSV file. So this is called as a data set. For doing any kind of predictive analytics, we are just going to collect the data set. So it is stored in the form of CSV files, comma separated value file. So for doing any kind of predictive analytics, I am going to collect the data set. They are stored in the form of CSV files. For example, what are all the different labels or features or attributes present in my data set? In order to predict diabetes, so these are all the different parameters, the glucose level, insulin level, the pressure level. So these are called as features. Do you understand? The first one, the tabular data structure, the entire data, the collection of all these attributes, it is called as a data set. For predicting, for doing any kind of predictive analytics, first we require a data set. So a data set is nothing but a collection of data, a group of data. What do you mean by a data set? A data set is nothing but a collection of data. And the attributes, the column attributes or labels, they are the essential features. So what are all the attributes, features? So whenever I have any problem, if I want to predict the disease, first I should analyze the features. So they are nothing but important pieces of data which help us in solving a problem. So whenever I have any problem, I should understand the features. The column attributes or labels, they are called the features. So this is one important term you should understand. For example, if I want to predict diabetes, so what are all the essential features? What is the glucose level? So what is the insulin level, fasting blood sugar level, pressure level? So I should understand, analyze all these features in order to predict the disease. The third one is model. So what do you mean by a model? So I have different machine learning algorithms. So this is where the machine learning part comes into picture. So just as how human brains, the doctors, they are going to make the relevant predictions, similarly I am just going to train the machine learning models. There are different types of algorithms, machine learning algorithms are available. So based on the problem, I have to represent this data. I have to train the model with this data. So internally how I am going to represent this data, and with the help of this model, that is the algorithm, it is going to make the relevant prediction. That is whether a person is affected by this disease or he is not affected by this disease. Do you understand? So what do you mean by machine learning? So what are all the things that a human being is going to perform? A doctor is going to perform all these things. So instead of a doctor, so I am just training the machine learning model in order to predict this disease. So based on the historical data that is available, so for doing any kind of machine learning project, so these are all the important things you should understand, important terminologies for a machine learning project. What do you mean by a data set? What do you mean by a feature? And what do you mean by a model? So these are all the essential things you should understand for doing any kind of machine learning project. Am I clear? So with this I am done with the basics of machine learning. So next I am just going to discuss with you about 1 minute. What do you mean by a program? I'm sorry. What do you mean by a program? So a program is nothing but a collection of instructions, a set of instructions which is used to solve some specific task. So what do you mean by a program? A program is nothing but a set of instructions which is used to solve some specific task. Am I clear? So this is what is called as a program. So what are the different types of programming processes I have? So these are the different types of programming processor. One is called as an interpreter and one more is called as a compiler. So the world is evolving around program. So for whatever task, so we are going to instruct the computers and they are going to solve some important task. And what are the different types of programming languages I have? So basically I have high level language and then low level language. So these two are the different types of programming languages I have. So Python, C, Java, Perl. So all these are examples of high level languages. And what are the different types of low level languages I have? Machine language and then assembly language. So these two are examples of low level languages. So for doing any kind of predictive analytics, we are employing Python language. So it is a growing language for doing predictive analytics. So why we are choosing Python for doing any kind of predictive analytics? So it is an easy to use language and the syntax is simpler when compared to other languages. So we are choosing Python for doing any kind of predictive analytics. And what are the other types of high level languages I have? C, C++, Perl, Java. So all these are other types of high level languages I have. And what are the different types of low level languages I have? Machine language and then assembly language. So these two are the different types of low level languages I have. So next I am going to discuss with you about the types of programming processes. So what do you mean by an interpreter and what do you mean by a compiler? So what do you mean by an interpreter? So these are the different modules that are present in an interpreter. I have an input module, I have an output module, and how an interpreter is going to work, and the speed of an interpreter, what is the memory requirement, errors, and then error detection. So what is the role of an interpreter? So it is going to interpret each and every line of code, and then it is going to produce some relevant results. The output of an interpreter, it is going to execute the whole code and we are going to get the output. So it does not produce any intermediate object code. And the compilation and execution part takes place simultaneously in case of an interpreter. The speed of an interpreter is slower when compared to compiler. And it requires less memory since it does not create any intermediate object code. So what is the role of an interpreter? It is going to interpret my entire code and I am going to produce the relevant results. It does not produce any intermediate object code. And how it is going to display the errors? So each and every line of error, it's just going to display. So it is going to interpret each and every line of code and then it is going to display the errors. And error detection is easier in case of interpreter when compared to compiler. Am I clear? So what are the different units that are given to an interpreter? I am going to have a source code. It is given to an interpreter and the output is displayed on the monitor. So whatever source code I have, so it is an input unit in the interpreter. It is given to the interpreter module and finally the output is displayed on the screen. And what do you mean by a compiler? So the compiler is going to perform the same thing, but the difference between an interpreter and compiler is a compiler is going to produce intermediate object code. An interpreter does not produce intermediate object code, whereas a compiler is going to produce intermediate object code. So these are all the different units that are present in a compiler. So I have a source code module. So after doing any kind of programming, I have to compile the program. So I need to check for some errors and then it is converted to the object code. I am giving to the executor unit and finally the output is displayed on the monitor. So for doing any kind of programming, so Python language, so it executes like this. So these are the different kinds of programming processes. So what do you mean by an interpreter and what do you mean by a compiler? So for doing predictive analytics, I am just going to use Python language. It is a high level programming language. As I told you, right, similar to English language, it is a high level programming language. So it is an easy to learn language and the syntax is simpler. And whatever type of applications, it can be developed at a faster rate using Python. when compared to other languages. When you take Java or some other languages you take, so when compared to other languages, for doing predictive analytics, we are employing this language called Python language. So what is the specialty about Python? So why we have chosen this language for doing any kind of predictive analytics? So this language can be learned at a faster rate and applications can be developed at a faster rate using Python. And it can run on any platform independent. So you can use Python in Windows OS, say Linux OS, or whatever type of operating system you can use Python. So it is platform independent. And we can implement whatever may be the problem in hand. So if I want to predict the weather conditions, whether it is going to rain tomorrow or it is going to be a sunny day, so I can implement any type of complex logic with only very few lines of code. So just by writing some 10 lines of code, I am going to get the relevant prediction result. So all this makes this language. So why we have chosen this language for doing predictive analytics? So it is a simple and easy to learn language, platform independence, and I can implement whatever may be the complexity of my logic. So if I want to predict some weather conditions, or if I want to predict some prices, stock prices, many stakeholders, they have invested in a company, how the sales is going to be. So they are very eager whether I am going to be profitable if I am going to invest in the stock prices. So for whatever predictive analytics, so all these are complex logics, right? So whatever may be the data I am having in hand, so all this can be processed at a very faster rate and I am going to get the relevant predictions with very less effort. So all these are the major reasons why I have chosen this language for doing predictive analytics. So I can implement any type of complex logic with only very few lines of code. Am I clear? So why we have chosen Python for doing predictive analytics? So it is just whenever I am going to give some input in the command line, I am going to get the output just below the input. So these are all the major reasons why I have chosen Python. So who developed this language? It was developed by Day1 Introduction in the year 1989 at National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands. So he is the person who invented Python language. So it was invented by Day1 Introduction at National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science in Netherlands. So it was invented in the year 1989. So this is the basic introduction to Python. Next I am just going to discuss with you why we are choosing Python and what are all the different things I can do with this language. So why we have to choose this language? So why one should use Python? So why? As I told you, right, for doing any kind of data processing task, a huge volume of data is being generated in a variety of sectors. Many online websites are developing, Amazon, Flipkart, so they are selling a variety of products. So many online sites are developing, so a huge volume of data is being generated. One important thing is I have to collect the data, I have to maintain, I have to store somewhere and I have to analyze and finally I am going to give the relevant prediction results. For doing any type of data processing task, so I'm going to analyze, the data is being processed. So for doing any kind of complex data processing task, I can use this language. So Python is a very powerful language. So it contains a modular toolkit for data processing library. MDP, it is an inbuilt library that is available for doing any kind of complex data processing operations. So with this library, so the Python language can be employed in order to do any kind of data processing. So whatever may be the complexity of my task. So whether I have a large data or a small data or whatever may be the type of problem. If I want to predict some disease or if I want to analyze the movie reviews, so how they have commented. So I am going to analyze the reviews of people and which in turn is going to increase the revenue for the movie company. So many online movie sites are there. For example, Amazon Prime, Netflix. So they are going to be it's going to be a profitable one for them. So what type of movies the people are opting for? It is a kind of predictive analytics. So a huge volume of data. Many users are using many online sites to watch movies. So for any type of data processing task, I can go for Python language. So it is a very powerful language. And what are the other things I can do with Python? Signal processing applications. In neuroscience analysis, as I told you, right, medical field, it is a very emerging field. So if I want to analyze the brain picture, so many diseases are spreading, right? So if I want to analyze the X-ray of so if I want to predict the kidney stone disease, if I want to predict some other type of disease, for example, heart disease, so for signal processing applications. From the signal picture, I can just capture and I am going to analyze the signals in order to get the required prediction. So what type of disease is a person is affected by what type of disease. So it has got a major contribution in neuroscience data analysis, signal processing task. In medical field, medical electronics or medical field, you can apply this machine learning process in order to make predictions. So it has got a wider range of applications. You can see here, right from predicting a disease or from a general point of view predicting a movie analysis. So it has got a wider range of applications and it can attract the kids as well. So kids, they are interested in playing games. They are very much interested in playing games. So they are very crazy about playing games. So Pygame software. So it is one of the powerful Python module for writing games. So gaming software can be developed using Python. So it is one more important application of machine learning. So you can see the varied applications of machine learning. So why this is a growing technology? So it is not confined or restricted to any specific domain. So you can see it is applied in medical field. It is applied in common gaming software. So for kids, it is attracting the kids as well as growing people or adults. So why this is becoming a more popular technology? Machine learning, data science, analytics, artificial intelligence. So everywhere automation is happening. We are trying to reduce the human power, manpower and time, and we are going to be, automation is happening at a very, very fast rate. So we are training the machines to think like humans and they are going to make the relevant predictions. Am I clear? So why this is a growing technology? So when you take any science concepts, for example DSP or any other concepts, it is confined to some specific domain. Whereas machine learning, it can be applied across a variety of platforms. So for research purpose, you can go for machine learning tasks. So that is why it is a very growing technology and it is a very demanding technology. And it is used in movie creation software, Maya Python. So it is a popular movie creation tool. So this can be developed using Python language. So see the variety of applications that can be done using Python. And musical software. For example, I want to analyze the quality of music. Whatever type of music is being played, I want to analyze the quality of music, whether it is in analog form or digital form, or I want to convert the music from one form to another form. For example, I want to convert from, say, for example, some MP3 to MP4 files. So for converting the musical files or for analyzing the quality of music. So what type of music is being played. So for doing musical analysis, or if I want to understand the meaning of music, musical notations can be analyzed using Python language. So all this can be created using Python language. I want to understand the meaning of my music. So whenever I hear some music, I can feel the music. It's very soothing to me, but I don't get the meaning. What is happening inside? It is hidden. So musical notations can be analyzed using Python software. So Python language. Am I clear? So these are all the different reasons. So why you are using the Python language. So it has got a variety of applications, right from gaming software to movie creation, musical industry. So you can see a variety of things can be developed using Python language. So that is the main reason machine learning is growing at a very, very fast rate. So it can be applied across a variety of domains. And website development framework. So it is a very, Django is a most prominent website development framework. And whatever prediction we are making, it can be integrated with this web framework in the front end. So it is providing a user-friendly framework and for powerful GUI applications, I can go for all this can be developed using Python language. So what are the different applications? So what makes this language a very powerful language? So right from medical analysis, musical software analysis, movie creation, gaming software, it is applied across a variety of industries. So variety of industries, so it has got a wider range of applications. That makes this language a very powerful and attractive language. That is why machine learning is growing at a very, very fast rate. So am I clear? So why we are using Python? What are the different applications of Python? Next I am just going to discuss with you about what is the difference between Python 2 and Python 3. So Python 3, it is the latest version of Python. So we are using Python 3 and Python 2, it is the previous version. So but still Python 2 is available. So why we are still employing Python 2? It contains some essential libraries which Python 3 doesn't have. So that is why we are still employing Python 2. So Python 3, it is the latest version we are using. So we are for doing any kind of predictive analytics, Python 3 is the latest version and Python 2 is the older version of Python 3. So it contains some important functionalities which Python 3 doesn't have. That is why we are still using. It contains some essential libraries. For doing some type of predictive analytics, we can use Python 2. So that is why Python 2 is still present. So next I'm just going to discuss with you, so what are all the different installation steps for using Python. So in order to use Python, so how you can install Python. So Anaconda Navigator, it is an open source software that is available. So once you go to Google, if you type Anaconda Navigator, so this is a distribution that is used for doing any kind of predictive analytics. So just you type Anaconda download. So there is a link. So once you are going to click that link, so you can just go for, so this is the home page. So this is the website you will be directed. From this you can just download Anaconda Navigator. So this is a distribution used for writing Python code. So in this, so once you download Anaconda Navigator, so you have to follow the procedures. That is, you have to double click and you have to install the Anaconda Navigator distribution. So it will be asking for a path. Then you click the next button and you have to accept the licensing terms. And yeah, so you can understand, right? So everybody knows about Anaconda distribution. So I can just proceed with the remaining things. Everybody is clear with the Anaconda distribution. Shall I proceed with the remaining things? Alright, so once you download Anaconda, so once you are going to type Anaconda Navigator, for example, I have already installed Anaconda. So once I click Jupyter Notebook, so these are all the different things that are available in my Anaconda Navigator. So I have a Jupyter Notebook, I have Jupyter Lab. So these are all the different things that are available. Once I click the launch button of Jupyter Notebook, so this is the home screen that will be available. So you can see here, this is the home screen of my Jupyter Notebook. So if I want to start any type of predictive analytics, I have to click the new and then Python 3 notebook. So you will be getting a new notebook like this. So this is where you are going to type any Python code. For doing any type of predictive analytics, so you can go for this type of environment. So whatever code you are going to type here, you are going to get the output just below the input. So this is the installation step. So if you want to go use Anaconda Navigator, you just install, you just go to Anaconda Navigator, you just download this and you can use Jupyter Notebook. So this is a online, that is web-based interactive computing notebook environment. So whatever I am going to type in the code cell, I am going to get the output just below the input. So this is where you are going to do any kind of predictive analytics. So am I clear? So what is the installation step you have to follow? So this is the command for installing idle. Sudo apt-get install idle. So various environments are available where you can do Python coding. So you can use Jupyter Notebook, or you can go for Google Colab, or you can go for Python idle. So these are all the different environments where you can write Python code. So for doing any kind of predictive analytics, these are all the different environments that are available. So you can go for Python idle, you can go for Jupyter Notebook, or you can go for Google Colab. So Google Colab Collaboratory, it is available online. It is an open source software. So you can just download Colab and you can start writing your code in Colab, Python code in Colab. So what is the command for installing idle? So sudo space apt-get install idle. So this is the command for installing Python idle. So it is just like a command prompt. So whatever you type, you are going to get the output just below the input. It is just like a command prompt. For example, so I am just typing. So in Jupyter Notebook, whatever I type, for example, in the print statement, I am just typing something. I am just typing hello everyone. So whatever I type in the code cell, I am going to get the output just below the input. So it is an interactive computing notebook environment. For example, I am typing something. So print statement. So whenever I give this command print within double quotes, I am just giving hello everyone. So whatever I type in the print statement, I am going to get the output just below the input. So it is an interactive computing notebook environment, just like a command line. So in command prompt, whenever you are going to type something in the code cell, I am going to get the output just below the input. If I want to say I want to multiply two numbers, b equal to, for example, I am multiplying two numbers. So if I want to print the multiplication result, I can do like this, a into b. So if I am multiplying two numbers, I am initializing a with the value of 2, I am initializing b with the value of 3, and then I am multiplying a and b, and it is being printed at the output. So this is a simple code snippet. So how I am going to develop the Python coding. So whatever I type in the code cell, so this is called as code cell. So whatever I type in the code cell, I am going to get the output just below the input. So this is what is called as a code cell. For example, if I want to multiply two numbers, a equal to 2, b equal to 3. So I am just initializing these two variables and I am printing. So if I want to get some output, so I am just using a print statement. So I am going to multiply these two numbers and it will be displayed at the output. Am I clear? So what I am doing here, so this is where you are going to do whatever type of development you want to do. So whenever I am going to discuss with you about any type of algorithms, so this is how the environment looks like. Whatever I type in the code cell, I am going to get the output just below the input. So this is an open source distribution that is available. You can just download and you can use, that is Jupyter notebook that is available online. So this is how my software logic looks like. Whatever code I have, it is given to the interpreter. So I will be developing the code. The interpreter, it interprets each and every line of code and then I am going to get the relevant results. So whenever I am typing something in the print statement, for example, I am typing welcome to Python. So it will be displayed. As I told you, right, hello everyone. So whatever I am typing in the print statement, the output will be displayed just below the code cell. Am I clear? So whatever file I am developing, it is stored with .py extension, that is Python file. The source code, it is stored with .py extension. So whatever code I am developing, it is stored with .py extension. And after compiling, so what is the use of compilation? So whenever I want to compile, whatever program I have developed, I need to compile the program. I need to check for errors. So I need to make sure that the code lines are arranged properly and I need to check for errors. So after py file, it is given to the compiler. It is converted to .pyc. After compilation, it is converted to .pyc file, that is bytecode, and it is given to the runtime, that is Python virtual machine. So what is the use of this virtual machine? So it is where the program will be deployed. So whatever program Python coding I have done, so it will be executed using the Python virtual machine. So this is how my execution model looks like. So whatever code I have developed, so I have some source code. So it is stored with .py extension, Python notebook. So it is called as a notebook technically. So whatever I am using the command line, right? So it is called as a notebook. It is stored with .py extension. The source code, it is stored with .py extension and it is converted to bytecode. So after compilation, you can see the Python file, it is converted to .pyc file, .pyc extension. The source code is converted to bytecode after compilation and it is given to the Python virtual machine, the runtime execution model. So it is going to check for, it is going to deploy the code. So whatever predictive work, development I have done, it is going to deploy. It is deployed using Python virtual machine. So this is how my runtime execution model looks like. So I have a source code, it is stored with .py extension and then it is converted to bytecode. So after compilation, it is converted to bytecode, that is .pyc extension. It is stored with .pyc extension and then it is given to the runtime execution model, Python virtual machine, in order to get the relevant output. And whenever I have developed any code, what are the different types of errors you are going to get? So you can get some syntax. You have to check for proper syntax. So whatever code I have developed, you need to check for proper syntax. So what do you mean by proper syntax? So the set of rules that are followed. For example, if I have a loop statement, if I have a decision making statement, so I need to check for proper syntax. And I can get some runtime errors. So what do you mean by runtime errors? So while running, divide by zero exception or some other type of errors can occur during runtime. So I need to check for runtime errors and semantic errors. So what do you mean by semantic errors? So I need to follow the proper execution order. So whatever code I have, so all the code lines should be executed in a proper sequence. If there is any mismatch in the order of my code, it is not going to produce the relevant results. So I need to check for different types of errors while programming. So I need to make sure the quality assurance is very important. After developing my code, I need to check for syntax errors, I need to check for runtime errors, and then I need to check for semantic errors. Am I clear? So what do you mean by syntax error, runtime error and semantic error? So these are all the different types of errors that may occur. For example, if I am going for a loop statement, for example if statement, so I have to give the correct braces and colon. So if I make some mistakes in my syntax, so I have to follow the correct rules. Some syntax errors may occur. So I have to check for proper syntax. And what do you mean by runtime error? So during runtime, for example, I am trying to divide a number by 0. So I will get divide by 0 error. So this is a runtime error. So I need to check for runtime errors and semantic errors. So what do you mean by semantic errors? For example, while constructing a while loop, while writing a while loop, while I is less than 10, I am going to print the value of I at the output. Am I clear? So I am just going to print the value of I at the output. The first step is initialization step. If I am going to initialize the I variable here, then this code is not going to work. So I need to follow the proper order. So in which order the lines of code should be constructed. First the initialization part. So first I have to initialize the variable. Then I need to check for some condition while I is less than 10. And then I am going to execute some code block. So I am going to print the value of I. So I have to follow the correct order. If there is some mismatch in the order, if I am going to give the initialization block below the while loop, so this code is not going to work properly. So this is called as semantic errors. So after developing my code, I need to check for syntax errors, I need to check for runtime errors, and then I need to check for semantic errors. Am I clear? So when you register for this course, so what are all the different things you are going to get? So you can have a simple, say for example, you can have some code like this. So you will be getting a IPYNB file. For example, Bitcoin prediction. So you will be getting a Python notebook IPYNB file, and you will be getting the relevant data sets and the output results. So you will be getting a projects like this if you register for this course. So these are all the different things you are going to get. So with this I am just stopping today. If you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Any doubts? Yes, writing. So if you have any doubts, runtime error. Yes, Rajesh. So what do you mean by runtime error? For example, during runtime, if I am going to produce some errors, say for example, divide by 0 errors, or I am trying to divide a number by -1, then it is called as the runtime error. Am I clear, Rajesh? Any doubts? Yes, PPT. So if you like, you can just log in and you can just register for internship. Any doubts so far? Semantic errors. So the proper ordering of code. So it is called as semantic error. So actually the scrolling goes very 1 minute. So it is called as difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. Machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. Yes, I'll go a bit slow. Any more doubts? Yes, I'll share. Any more doubts? 1 minute. Python 3. Yes, Python 2 contains some library, so I am using Python 3. Yes, 1 minute. Semantic errors. Actually, the chat box is rolling very fast, so I am not able to. Python meaning. So it is a type of language, high-level programming language. Any more doubts? Yes, I will teach ML concepts. So first 2 days I will just cover Python. So in order to learn about ML, first you should understand about Python. So then I will just start with Python. Compile time error, Navya. So compiling. So you have to check for errors. You have to check for errors. ML I will start. First I will start with Python and then I will start with ML. Any more doubts? Semantic error. So you have to follow the proper ordering of code. So the lines should be executed in a proper order in order to get the relevant results. If the lines are not ordered properly, you are not going to get the relevant results. This is what is called as semantic errors. As PowerPoints I will share. Any more doubts? Attendance S. Any more doubts? Recorded videos. Yes, you can. Any more doubts? Yeah, slowly I will go. Any more? Yes, machine learning I will teach. Machine learning I will teach. Machine learning I will teach. First I will cover the basics of Python and then I will start with machine learning. 1 minute. Scrolling very fast. Shivakumar, what you are asking? PDF, yes, you can get. You can just log into pantechelearning and you can just register for machine learning internship. Yes, PowerPoints I will provide. PowerPoints, yes, PowerPoints I will provide. Any more doubts? Semantic, actually the chat box is rolling very fast. Semantic error, yes. So what do you mean by semantic? Project on machine learning. So weather prediction is a project on machine learning. So whenever I am discussing with machine learning, I will be discussing with you about each and every project in detail. When I am going to discuss with you about machine learning, I am going to discuss with you about each and every project in detail. Yes, I will share the PowerPoint. Any more doubts? Machine learning project. 1 minute. Internship cost, you can just log into pantechelearning site. Yeah, these videos are recorded. These videos are recorded. Yeah, videos are recorded. You'll be getting the videos. Yes, you will be getting the videos. Any more doubts? Object code. The source code should be converted to machine code, right? Only then it will be executed by the machines. That is object code. Difference between syntax and semantic errors. Yes. Syntax errors, as I told you, right? You have to check for proper syntax. That is the rules followed by various statements. Whereas semantic errors, the correct sequence in which the code should be executed. The ordering of lines. If the order of my lines is not proper, then you will be getting a semantic error. Yes. Yes, you will be getting a certificate. Yes, you will be getting a webinar certificate. Yes. Any more doubts? Syntax error. So you are clear with syntax error, right? So what do you mean by syntax error and semantic error? I just now explained, right? What do you mean by syntax error? Yeah, I'll go. So what is the difference between syntax error and semantic error? I just explained, right? Any more doubts? Yeah, you can use Google Colab. You can get the videos. So once you register for machine learning internship, you can get the videos. Any more doubts? Yes. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Yeah, PPTs, if you can just enroll for internship. And if you enroll for internship, you can just get the relevant materials. Any more doubts? Semantic error. Yes, Kalyan. Actually, my chat box is rolling very fast. So, semantic error, did you understand? If I have to follow the correct sequence of lines in order to get the correct predictions. If the order of my lines is going to vary, then I will be getting a semantic error. Everything is clear? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Can we divide? Actually, my chat box is rolling very fast. Tomorrow I'll solve this issue. Yes. Any more doubts? Installation steps. You go to Google, you just type Anaconda Navigator. It is an open source software that is available. You can just click Anaconda Navigator. You can download, double click. You follow the installation steps and you can download, and there is a Jupyter notebook that is available. It is in the Anaconda distribution. You have Jupyter notebook. It is used for doing any kind of Python development. Clear with the installation? Any more doubts? Interpreter. So it does not produce any intermediate object code, whereas the compiler is going to produce some intermediate object code. So interpreter, it is going to interpret each and every line of code, whereas a compiler, it is going to compile, it is going to scan the whole code for some errors. Any more doubts? Yes, you have to pay for internship. If you want to register in internship, you have to pay. So you can just log into pantechelearning and you can check for internship. So if you want to register in internship, you have to check and you can enroll. Data science, yes, I'll teach. So first I'll teach you the basics. So first you should understand Python in order to learn machine learning. So tomorrow I'll just teach Python with slang. And then we will start with machine learning concepts. So after doing Python, so I'll just start with machine learning concepts and libraries and everything. Any doubts? Bitcoin price prediction. So it is a type of machine learning project. So I just showed you, if you are going to enroll in this internship, you will be getting all these things. Internship price. So 1 month internship price is going to come around 1000. You can just log into pantechelearning and you can just see. Semantic error ready. So I explained, right? So for example, in a while loop, first I have to follow the initialization step, then I have to check for some condition, and then I am going to execute some print statement. If the initialization step comes after the condition, the code won't work properly. So I have to follow the proper ordering of lines, the sequential ordering of lines. If there is some mismatch in the order, the code won't work properly. It is called as semantic error. Am I clear? So what do you mean by semantic error? PDFs, yes, you can get. Am I clear? What do you mean by semantic error? Any more doubts? Advantages of internship. So you are going to learn more about machine learning. So whatever concepts I have given, right? So you will be getting a deep understanding of machine learning. Any more doubts? Object code, byte code, PowerPoints I'll provide. Any more doubts? PDFs, yes, I'll provide. Yeah, you have to pay for internship. Will you provide the dialects? Yes. Once you register, you will be getting the projects. You will be getting the IPYNB files and the relevant CSV files. So whatever inputs and outputs I am going to provide, everything you will be getting. Java and Python language. So Java, as I told you, right, for doing end-to-end, front-end and the business logic, for doing end-to-end website development, you can go for Java. So Python is a simpler version. So just by writing some input, you are going to get some output just below the input. Easy to learn language. Syntax is simpler when compared to Java language. Syntax means, so for any, it is the rules. So it is a basic computer term you should understand. It is nothing but a set of rules for doing any type of statement. If I am going to provide some decision making statement, or if I am going to go for looping statement, I have to follow some rules. So where I should use simple brackets and where I have to use colon. So it is a set of rules is called as a syntax. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? What is a model? So it is nothing but the representation. So how I am going to predict? For predictive analytics, I am using some machine learning algorithms. How I am going to represent the data and how I am going to predict what type of model fits my problem. For prediction, the internal representation of any problem. So in which model, which algorithm is going to predict, it is called as a model. It is called as a model. Any more doubts? Anaconda, installation of Anaconda. So just you go to Google, you can just type Anaconda Navigator and you can just download Anaconda and double click the icon and you follow the installation steps. Whatever it is appearing in the pop-up window. Other languages you can use for machine learning. So Python is the most popularly used language. Even you can use other languages as well. For example, Java or C. But Python is the majorly used language for machine learning. S, artificial intelligence. Machine learning, it is an application of artificial intelligence. So all these are interlinked. S. Yeah, you can join. You just go to pantechelearning and you can join. Yes, other languages you can use, but Python is the most, as I told you, right, because it is having a simpler syntax, so it is the popularly used language for development, machine learning development. It is the most easier language and easy to use syntax for doing predictive analytics. Any more doubts? PyCharm, yes, you can use PyCharm. You can use Google Colab, you can use Python Idle, PyCharm and Jupyter Notebook. Object code, bytecode, they are same. So sudo apt, it is the command for installing idle. Internship, it is nothing but industrial training program. So you will be getting deep knowledge about machine learning. Yeah, videos I will give. So this is a command for installing idle. So this is a command for installing idle. So you can just, as I told you, right, if you go to online Jupyter Notebook, you can install Anaconda Navigator or sudo apt. This is the command for installing idle. NumPy or libraries Celery. So I will be discussing with you about the libraries. I didn't discuss with you about libraries. Python, yes. When you want to learn about machine learning, you need to know about Python. If you learn Python, then whatever algorithms I am going to .py Vignesh, it is the Python, that is the source code, it is stored with .py extension, and whatever I am converting, so after compilation .pyc, Python compilation file. So after checking for errors, it is converted to .pyc file. Interpreter, it is going to execute, check for Soumya, it is going to check for errors line by line. Compiler, it compiles the entire program. Yes, you need to know Python for machine learning. Yes, Vignesh. Bytecode, yes. Google Colab, I will just give you an introduction about Google Colab later. So first you understand Python. So in order to learn machine learning, first you should understand Python. Yes, machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. They are interlinked. Python, yes, Anaconda Navigator is an open source distribution. Python is a language. Any more doubts? Yes, it's an open source distribution. Python is a language. It is open. Any more distribution? Any more doubts? Python. So if you want to learn machine learning, I am just covering the basics of Python. So once you know about Python, idle is also used for development. So there are different development environments. You can go for Google Colab, you can go for, that is, Anaconda Navigator, Jupyter Notebook, or you can use idle. So all these are development environments. All these are development environments. No, Anaconda is an open source distribution. Material. So yeah, I'll just provide the material. Yeah, you can get recorded. Yeah, you have to pay for internship. Yes. Any more doubts? Yeah, notes I will provide. What is your answer, Tarun? Recorded videos I will provide. Any more doubts? Implement machine learning by Java. Yes, you can use other languages as well. But Python is the most popularly used language for doing machine learning. So it is the easier to use language for predictive analytics. Python, yes, that is why I am giving an introduction to Python. Any more doubts? What is your... My name is Nandini. So any more doubts? Yes. Benefits of internship, you will be getting good knowledge about machine learning. Hands-on experience, practice, we will be giving more codes, more PPTs and videos you will be getting. Internship, that is, it comes around 1000. So you can just go to pantechelearning site and you can just check out. Interpreter, what is the use of interpreter? It is going to interpret each and every line of code. It is going to check for some errors. At runtime, with the help of interpreters, we are going to interpret each and every line of code. We are going to check for some errors, and then if there are any errors, it is going to display the errors. Yes. Loop, right loop and while syntax. Yes, tomorrow I will just teach. So today I just gave you an introduction. So tomorrow I will just go deep into the Python language. I just gave you an introduction to Python. Yes, yes. You can have access, you can just log into pantechelearning site and you can go for internship. Master in machine learning, just attend these classes regularly and you practice. You can become a master in machine learning. Any more doubts? How to use in Python? What you want to use, Pujari? What? Any more doubts? Notes I'll just provide. So if you convert, you can join for internship and you can have access to all the notes and whatever videos I'm providing. Any more doubts? Machine learning and artificial intelligence, they are just interlinked. They are not the same, they are interlinked. Machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. PDF Soumya, yeah, I'll just share. You can just enroll for internship and you'll be getting all those things. Runtime errors. So I just told you, right, for example, a number, you are trying to divide a number by 0. So actually it is correct. Compile, when you are going to compile the code, it will compile. But during runtime, it is not a meaningful line of code. So you are going to get a runtime code, divide by 0 error. So this is an example of runtime error. Any more doubts? Difference between deep learning and machine learning. Deep learning is an advanced version of machine learning. Yes. AI and ML, artificial intelligence. So machine learning is a sub-branch of artificial intelligence. So you have more advanced concepts in artificial intelligence. So machine learning is an application of artificial intelligence. Any more doubts? What you are unable to open, Riktam? What? Object code. So whichever code we are writing, we have to convert to the machine readable form, right? That is called as object code. Internship. We are having internship in online or offline. Yes, you can access in mobile devices. Internship materials. Syntax means, Ganesh, the rules we have to follow. For writing some statements, we need to follow some rules. Those are called as syntax. Anaconda Navigator, it is an open source distribution, Pujari. So you can just go to Google, you can just type Anaconda and you will be getting the Anaconda distribution. Any more doubts? Attendance link we will provide. Any more doubts? Deep learning versus machine learning. So deep learning is an advanced version of machine learning. Yes. Thank you all. Any more doubts? Difference between Python and machine learning, Tarun. Python is a language used to do machine learning tasks. It is a language, it is not a technology. Machine learning is a technology. Am I clear, Tarun? Data set, it is nothing but a collection of data. So I have to collect data in order to do any kind of predictive analytics. It is called as a data set. Alright. So we will see tomorrow, same time. Yes. I'll go slow. So we will see tomorrow, same time. Karthik Sagar, data science. So machine learning, data science, all these are interlinked. So machine learning, we using some algorithms. For data science, we are employing some other type of algorithms. Neural network algorithms will be used. Am I clear? Recorded videos, if you join for internship, you can get the recorded videos. Yes, thank you all.